What is up, Rally Towel fam? Good evening. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the show. Town Hall Tuesday with you as always. On my other side is Mr. Todd Gottschall. And as always, Bobby. Todd, how was your weekend, man?
It was great, man. Celebrated Easter with the family. Went down to Cincinnati. Spent some time with the in-laws. My mom and dad got to come over to the in-laws' house. We
Very good.
Declan got to do his first Easter egg hunt, which was awesome. Loved it. He loved it for about 30 seconds, and then he just wanted to chase Arlo around. So it was great. We also did an adult Easter egg hunt, which ended in shots of Fireball, which, again, that's good.
Can't complain about that. Spend it.
Yeah. How was yours? How was your weekend?
Oh, it was good. Mom and brother came up on Friday night. We got Ohio Pizza and Wings and got hammered. And then I spent the rest of my weekend playing video games. So
it was great. Sounds great.
All in all, a pretty relaxing weekend. So I cannot complain. Man, there's a lot going on. I feel like every time we go from Thursday to Tuesday, we always just have so much that we have to unpack from the weekend.
Yeah.
So there was the first thing I want to start with was something that we had actually spoken in length about. Or do you want to save that baseball topic for later? I'll leave that up to you.
Yeah, let's get comfortable, then we'll get into it.
Okay, fair enough. Well, what is your most surprising sports news this weekend outside of the Reds being complete pieces of shit after Phil Castellini came out and basically threatened the city of Cincinnati? The Reds are 0-7. 0-7, and they've been outscored by 30 plus runs in that stretch of 7 games. So obviously they are on fire. Jonathan India just hit the 10-day DL. Moose just hit the 10-day DL as well. They recalled Friedel, which is actually good. I know that's he's a young talent that we've been kind of wanting to see. And they brought up somebody else from AAA Louisville, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head. JT Riddle. That's it.
Riddle.
Obviously, I'm not super shocked about Moose had a bicep strain and India had a hamstring strain. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay. So what is your prognosis for the Cincinnati Reds over the next 2 weeks while these guys are on the DL?
Just it's going to continue. The Reds are going to have 15 losses by the time we have by the time we have them in the post next Wednesday. It's going to be crazy. No, I'm serious though. What, they're 2-9 now, right? Memory serves correct.
So quick stat, they are so I believe they're already 12% of the way to a 75 loss season, and we're 11 games in.
Yeah, pretty terrible.
So I'm feeling pretty confident about that over on the 75. As far as the projections, I know that was a question we got asked quite a bit. Hey, Arlo,
stop! I'm in the middle of a podcast, bro. Dogs.
I actually just ran outside and flashed him. That's why he was yelling. But yeah, they've been absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, look, people are like shitting on Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo, which
these guys are rookies.
Well, you can't because they're not getting any. Hunter Green got run support in his first start, which was good. And then in his second start, where he throws 39 pitches over 100 miles an hour, you give him 2 runs. Like, of course you're going to lose. Statistics tell you that you have to score at least 4 runs to win a game. And that's only 50 to 55% of the time when you score 4 runs do you win. Like, yeah, of course the Reds are losing. They're not producing on offense for shit. You have Aquino, who basically is, I think he's already struck out damn near 20 times already.
He struck out more times this season than Tony Gwynn did in his fucking career, I feel like, at this point.
And Joey Votto is having a horrendous start as well. I mean,
it's literally mirroring last season.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's damn near the same as we saw at the beginning of last year for Votto.
Yeah. Jaden, thanks for liking the video. Ryan, what's up? Bruce, thanks for liking the video. Bruce! Ryan says, "Hey, daddies, I hate baseball."
Yeah, look.
Well, Ryan, we're gonna talk about it for a
just
minute, so buckle in.
Carp, just hold on that your Vols are in the top. They're still in the top 5 in college baseball, so just keep holding on to that. Because
quick sidebar, because you said Volunteers, and then here's my thought process that just happened in my head right now. You guys ready for this? You said Vols, I thought Orange, and then I saw a picture of John Daly's son, who just got sponsored for. He's going to play college golf. I don't know where he's playing, but he just got an NIL deal from Hooters. So that just
perfect.
Happened.
Absolutely, that's the best. That's best case scenario.
Good for you, Lil John.
If Barstool Sports is not sponsoring that dude, what the fuck are they doing? That's win-win-win. All parties involved.
Oh yeah, Portnoy's on board with John Daly and what he's got going on.
That's their ideal athlete. It's perfect.
Yeah. The peak male figure, or the peak male athlete, whatever the term is for it now.
Prime physique.
Bruce said he hates baseball too. Well, we're gonna do the best we can to make you love it a little bit. Ryan said, "Side note: Vols coach has no chill, and I love it."
Yeah, he's a fucking nut job, man. I like it too.
Sometimes you gotta be a little fucking crazy, man.
I think
Carl, thanks for liking the video. What's up?
I think sometimes college baseball coaches don't get the love that they deserve because they just constantly get shit on.
Yeah.
And it's the big variance from college baseball to even getting to the next level of like going through the farm system is that a good college baseball coach gets a ridiculously, basically like what Calipari got in Kentucky. Like it's like a lifetime contract. You just stay until you decide you don't want to coach anymore. Unless you're at a Power 5 school and you have one mediocre season, then you're dead to the world. Like if you're in the SEC and you're at Ole Miss and you're not cracking the top 40, you're basically fired after 2 years. It's just how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I cut you off earlier. You were going on a tangent about the Reds and Joey Votto and how this is mirroring last season. Please continue that thought.
So I think the big thing is that everything that everybody's greatest fear that they had about the Reds has come true.
Yeah.
So you start the year and the bullpen wasn't bad, right? The bullpen was really kind of the only thing we were like, oh, this is a nice surprise. And then you have some implosions over the last week, and then they play the Dodgers. And it was hard to watch the Reds play the Dodgers. Like damn near impossible because it was not even close to being an even playing field. And they're in the same organization, right? Like you watch the Dodgers and you watch that lineup go through and Tyler Mahle, who is the Reds ace, made it through once and that was it. By the time he got through the second time around and the Dodgers lineup, they were teeing off on him. And then they teed off on the bullpen. Next thing you know, it's like 6 or 7-0. You're like, all right, well, I might as well just change the channel. Which is exactly what I did on Sunday. I was like, well, I'll just watch the USFL. I'd much rather watch the USFL than watch this. So
right.
What did everyone expect, right? You expect them to lose.
This is exactly why my expectations were literally through the floor. This doesn't shock me at all. Like I'm not sitting here like, oh, the Reds are 2-9. How is this happening? We know exactly why it's fucking happening.
Yeah, and it sucks because then you have a team like Oakland who's on the other side that's 6-5, and you're like, how are they doing that? How are they doing that with literally a half of what the Reds are paying their players this year, half the salary?
Well, you got to think they've been threatened with the city of Oakland not being their home for God knows how long. They're just used to it by now. They're just going there and trying to win baseball games, man.
That's fair. Well, it's for a lot of young guys, it's their opportunity to
shine,
to figure out how they can get a bigger contract. You know, that's kind of the MO of Oakland or Tampa or what have you. But another big thing that's come out of baseball today, which I don't know if you've even seen this yet or not, there's a group of investors led by former Oakland Athletic Dave Stewart, former ace of the Oakland Athletics, to bring an expansion team to Nashville.
That'd be sick.
That's really, really, really coming into the works. But here's my question. what happens to the state of Kentucky once there's a Major League Baseball team in Nashville? Do they just go support the new franchise, or do they continue to support the Reds?
That's a great question. Because I mean, honestly, it is an opportunity for a completely clean start, clean slate.
Yeah, if I'm in Lexington or Louisville,
I would 100% jump ship.
I would 100% go to Nashville to watch a baseball game, especially if they're going to build them a new stadium with 35,000 seats over driving over the fucking scariest bridge in the country, right? Like that's the kind of stuff that I think about.
The nation's number one ranked what is number one ranked infrastructure.
It's the most dangerous bridge.
I used to cross that twice a day, every day.
Terrifying.
Two working from work, and every time I got on it, I'm like, God, just get across, don't fall, don't fall apart while I'm here, because that's just not a good way to go.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I think if you're in Kentucky, if you're south of like, I don't know, Hebron. Shit, I'm thinking even Hebron, like Dry Ridge. You get south of Dry Ridge, you might as well just make the extra hour-and-a-half trip south to Nashville, right?
I would.
I mean, if I like baseball and I'm not really connected to the Reds, or if I'm as disgusted with the Reds as you and I have felt, might as well, right? Shit, who knows? Maybe I end up liking this new Nashville whatever comes about. And I just go 125% into that. I stop getting my heart broken every year. And
the Nashville Moonshiners.
Yeah, I don't even. They haven't. They're saying that they're going to try to name them something along the lines of, having to do with Music City, if you will.
The Nashville Stars.
I think that's what their minor league teams are. No, they're called the Sounds. Their AAA team's called the Sounds.
Yeah, they could be the Stars.
Oh,
and then just...
that is actually, they are proposing them to be called the Nashville Stars. Look at you go.
I should be in PR. It's in some fucking front office.
It's to pay homage to the Negro League team that they had in the 40s and 50s.
That's dope.
That's pretty cool.
That's super dope. Yeah, that's 100% got to be. It just sounds good. It just sounds good.
You could make some really good city colorways too with that logo.
Could you imagine, like, the hats are going to be sick? No, they're the Predators. It's the Nashville Predators is the hockey team.
It's the Predators.
Ryan said, what about Stale Dale in the semi-pro league looking like little Michael?
Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
I'll have to send you a video of him. It's funny because I told you I saw him at a wedding, I don't know, 5 or 6 weeks ago now. And he was telling me about it. I've plugged it a couple times on our page, but like, it's basically like a 7-on-7 full contact limited pads league. And Dale's the quarterback and just shucking and jiving all over the place. It's quite entertaining.
He always had an arm. I mean,
and he's super athletic. He's always been one of the better athletes.
I remember when him and I played baseball together. He could just throw the ball a mile.
Yeah, he's a good athlete.
Yeah.
Ryan, what I'll do it for the page too. I'll plug the league and I'll tag Dale in it, and he can give a little bit more information on it. But I watched a little bit of the first week of him playing because they have it like on a website or whatever.
It's check that out.
Yeah, it's not bad football. I mean, their team's like the number 4 team in this league in the whole fucking country. So they played a team from Tampa Bay came up and played them, and they beat them and all sorts of stuff. But it's pretty entertaining. It's not bad.
Nice.
You never know what's going to come up on Town Hall Tuesday.
No, absolutely. Quick reminders, Town Hall Tuesday. If you guys have any topics or things that happened over the weekend that you want us to talk about, please let us know. Overall, super disappointed with the Reds. It's just disappointment that's carried over from the offseason into the actual season. I don't know how much of it's going to change at this point, but
I think the cherry on top is that there's a total of 12 people in the IL.
Yeah. Well, I mean you knew keeping Moose that he wasn't going to be healthy. He never is.
Yeah. I mean, what is that? That's 20% of your roster of your 40 man that's on the IL, right? Almost 30.
Man.
Sucks. I mean, what do you
Absolutely
expect is going to
insane.
happen? Yeah.
Absolutely insane, dude. So there was something I just wanted to talk about, and it just completely just trying to catch it.
Gone forever. Aaron Hernandez.
No, okay, found it. USFL debuted this weekend.
It did.
What were your thoughts?
It's fine football. I think for a casual football fan, it gives you an opportunity to watch technology in motion. I fucking love the first down markers. I thought that was great. I think that was one of my favorite things of watching the USFL was watching them like do the animation of the ball, like reaching the first down line with the sensor on the front of it. Like that was dope. I think that everybody that was out there looked pretty rusty. It did not look like anybody was in. It looked like very few people were in like true football shape. You know what I mean? Like you watch guys playing and like by the third quarter of that Birmingham Stallions game on Saturday, everybody was dragging ass. Like it was very obvious that those guys, they signed them on a roster. There wasn't really any structure yet to how the USFL does training and conditioning. It's all new to everybody. And it showed. I like the mic'd up quarterbacks. I like the mic'd up players. You got to see a mic'd up fight over the weekend between two players on the same team. That was pretty fun. You got to watch the number 1 overall pick of the USFL get consistently benched during the first game of the year. Shea Patterson from Michigan, who is on the Michigan Predators, I think are their names, or Panthers, one of the two. I think it's Predators, but they have him and Paxton Lynch. If you remember Paxton Lynch from Memphis, and he played on the Broncos. It was like watching them both back and forth. Like Shea Patterson's he's a mobile quarterback and he doesn't throw the ball well. And Paxton Lynch is like a throw only because he's like 6'7", 275 now. But it takes him forever. Yeah, he's a big boy. It takes him forever to get the ball out of his hand. But when he lets go of the ball, it's like how Ryan Mallett used to be. He throws a football like 75 miles an hour. It's ridiculous. It just and this league, I think he'll do really well because he'll have an extra second or two to throw the ball. I think the USFL will be fun to watch. I actually think it'll last. I think the XFL and the USFL will actually last over the Alliance, American Alliance League. Because there's better funding and they're doing things to try to basically get the NFL on board with them, right? Not trying to, allowing the NFL to continue to be basically the monopoly that it is at this point, but also giving guys basically a second chance at playing professional football. It's fine. Like if you're going into that expecting that it's going to be like Sunday Night Football, then you're going to be disappointed. You have to go in with the expectation that you're watching guys that have been out of a professional league more than likely for at least a year, if not more. And they're trying to get their footing back. I think by week 3 or 4, I think it'll be much better.
Yeah.
Did you watch any of it?
I saw some highlights. I didn't sit down and really watch any of it for an extended period of time, but it doesn't surprise me. It's just like the first game of the first week of the NFL season, man. You can't hang your hat on it, man. Practice and conditioning you can only do so much to get prepared for game, and game shape is way different than preseason shape. It takes time to figure it out and find your groove. And unfortunately, some guys don't because they get hurt week 1. But no, Jaden, I saw your comments about T.O. I didn't hear anything about T. I know T.O. has been saying that he can still play.
So Terrell Owens is playing in something called the FCF, or fan controlled football. It's actually what Johnny Manziel plays in as well. It's another. Basically, it's like I would call it closer to like a semi-pro league. It's fan control football. It's derived from the fan base that's viewing the game. They basically create the game itself, right? All the intricacies of the game. But he caught a touchdown in his debut, which is pretty cool. I mean, the dude is, let's see, I just looked, he's 48 and he's in great shape. He looks like clearly he's lost probably 2.5 steps, but his touchdown was in the corner of the end zone and he went up and got it. And he actually like fully extended and got it. Like that was pretty cool. I didn't watch it, but I just watched the highlight of it because it was on ESPN.
He's always been a freak athlete. I mean, he was one of the best receivers in football for a very long time.
Right. Yeah, I think it's quite the fan control football. I haven't done enough research on it yet to really like tell you how I feel about it. I've watched enough highlights and I watched Johnny Manziel in it a little bit. He does really well. So that just tells me that it's mediocre at the jump because Johnny Manziel was less than good in the NFL. Certainly after he got out of Texas A&M and Mike Evans wasn't there to catch everything he threw, he was pretty bad. So
I could throw to Mike Evans. That dude
right.
will catch anything.
That's my point. It's like he had the best athlete in college football at the time that he was just throwing to him 8 to 12 times a game. And Mike Evans was almost guaranteed to be in the end zone because he was 4 inches and 30 pounds heavier than any defensive back in college football.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to run into many defensive backs that are going to be 6'2", 6'3", and can keep up with, somebody that guy's caliber.
Well, you're going to see one this year in Sauce Gardner. I'm pretty stoked to watch him play, man.
He's definitely got a lot of hype. He's going to definitely be a top 5 draft pick.
I think so. I think he could even go as high as 2 to the Lions. I really do believe that.
God, I mean, if you're drafting, that guy's got to be like an Ed Reed like caliber. Like
he never gave up a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like if you're picking D-back top 5, he has to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, no questions, or it's a completely wasted pick.
Right. Well, here's the caveat to that: is the last time the Lions did that, they drafted Jeff Okudah, which
he's okay.
He's fine. He's not. He's not a top. He's not first ballot Hall of Fame right now. He hasn't figured out an NFL defense yet, but
he's talented.
Yeah, I think the benefit for Sauce Gardner though is that Luke Fickell runs basically pro style offense and defense at UC, and again, I just want to be very clear: the guy never gave up a touchdown.
That's incredible. I don't care if you're playing in the Big Ten. I don't care if you're playing, in the MAC or the Pac-12. Like, not giving up a touchdown is incredibly difficult.
Yeah, I mean Here's the thing. I don't know who the last person was. Let me see if I can
and keep in mind, they played a very high-powered SEC team in the playoff, and he still didn't give up a touchdown. Granted, it was one game, but that's still like you've got to be unbelievably talented to be that consistent over a season. I mean, there's not one play where he completely blew a coverage or let somebody burn him. He's definitely going to be good. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
We'll see. We'll see where he goes. I mean, whoever gets him the team will instantly be better. The defense will instantly be better with his addition.
Right. I mean, I think if he falls out of the top 5, that's absolutely ridiculous, and someone's creating pure ignorance. So
yeah, for sure. Ryan said that I did see the tweets that Chad Johnson was putting out to the Bengals saying he wanted to get signed to the practice squad, no paycheck. He was obviously bragging about how incredibly frugal he is. And still has like 85% of his salary, which is great, dude. I'm super proud of him for doing that. There's a lot of professional athletes that don't hold their money and save it and basically use that to live the rest of their life. Right. So if I was him, I'd brag about that shit too. Good for him. Yeah, he wanted no monetary compensation. He just wanted to be on the practice squad. He wants to guard all the receivers, and he said, "You can cut me before the season starts." And I thought that was pretty cool. I think it's a cool idea. I just don't know how that's going to help them prepare for the season.
Right. It doesn't help the Bengals. It just
Right.
gives Chad Johnson his opportunity to be back in the spotlight again. Because it would be a great story, right? And Chad Johnson lived his career off of being in the. I mean, he got fined every single week that he played the NFL.
Question: if he was on the practice squad to start the season, would he get a Super Bowl ring if they won?
I don't know the answer to that question. My assumption is that say they go into the preseason and he's on the roster. I believe it's anybody that. No, I think it's anybody that's on the active roster and staff, including practice squad, going into the playoffs. Because remember, they do a roster adjustment right before the playoffs start. So I think it has to do with that.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure about that. I was like, the thought popped in my head, like maybe he's playing a long con for a Super Bowl ring.
Sucks that he was just in Cincinnati at the wrong time.
Could you imagine him and Jamar Chase on the opposite sides of each other?
No, that's too much. I don't. That would be a pretty. That'd be pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. When Chad Johnson was in his prime, that man was incredibly tough to guard.
Insane. Yeah, he was insane.
Yeah, it was every week. It was like, just don't let this motherfucker score because I don't want one of these dances, and I don't want to have to lose my shit.
Right.
As a Steelers fan, at least you guys were living for it, and I don't blame you. I would have too. Yeah. Corey coming into the chat. One of the other two members of this absolutely handsome squad. Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Just a little one.
Just a quick one.
So Ryan came in with a comment. I do want to dig into this. I think it's an interesting concept. So what about if the champion of the XFL replaced the last place team in the NFL?
Like the Premier League for soccer?
So here's my thought on that. There's no shot that a team in the XFL could compete with an NFL. I don't even care if it's the worst team in the NFL. I don't think an XFL team could compete. That'd be like saying like you take the winner of the college football playoff and they replace the last place team in the NFL. It just wouldn't work like that, man. Like I don't think you understand how vastly different the NFL is from every other structured football organization on the planet. Like I don't care if it was who was the worst team in the NFL last year?
The Texans, the Jaguars.
Texans, Jaguars, perfect example. They would fucking slap Alabama 68-0. And that'd be done by the third quarter.
Right.
Like it wouldn't even be a football game. Like it is the literal best of the best college athletes. And that's usually what, I would say probably, I don't know, 30 to 40% of the best college teams are like really good athletes. But how many of those like get taken high in the actual draft class? Like even Ohio State, you've got 2 first-round picks and the wide receivers. Like that whole Ohio State team would get fucking waxed. Like,
sure.
It's just a completely different. What Ryan said, what about the Pro Bowl team of the XFL?
So here's my proposition. I
like where your head's at. I think it's a really cool because it would prevent tanking. Which
you take the worst record team in the NFL. So let's say Detroit goes out and goes 2-15 this year, right? Something along those lines. Worst team in the NFL plays the XFL or the USFL champion. It's an exhibition match. You do it at the USFL ticket prices at $10 a head, and you fill up Progressive, whatever they call that field in Birmingham, and you just let it. You play an exhibition game, right, and just see what happens.
I would be completely on board with that.
I think that personally. Here's the thing. You're right. It would be an absolute shit show for, say, the best team in the XFL. But it's Dwayne Johnson's running the XFL. Don't forget that. He is basically the commissioner of the XFL. If that dude is anything, he's thinking of a million ways to make as many dollars as possible. How many people that are owners within any professional organization make all their money off of a clothing line that they have very little to do with, and all they did was design a bull skull, and then they just put it on T-shirts with little funny, like serious quotes, and you charge $40 a T-shirt, and you have guys that go into the gym wearing the whole fucking attire from head to toe, spending $400 on an outfit to go work out at Planet Fitness. That's what The Rock does. The Rock is great at
smart.
Yeah, he's great at selling a product that makes people believe something to be something that will never happen. No one will ever look like The Rock. Let's just be clear. Like the XFL will never
be him. You gotta start working out now, and then you're gonna see that result in 40 years.
Right, and by then your bones are all broken and brittle because you've just been taking shitty care of yourself because you've been doing The Rock's diet and exercising, and you don't have a nutritionist that makes all your meals for you, and then you run yourself ragged.
Have you seen his cheat days? Like his cheat day meals? They're insane.
I would like to do a day where I try all of them.
Oh, dude, that's like 10,000 calories.
Yeah, I've eaten 8,500 calories in a day, bro. We gotta make that happen.
I would love to give it. So, chat, not to give any spoilers away, but the Rally Towel Sports family will be starting a TikTok here very soon, and it's going to be filled with a bunch of sports content, but also random funny content and challenges as such. I think that would make for some great content on that platform, just to see if we could do it.
I give it a shot. You give me a week to prepare. I think I could at least knock down 80% of it.
Only real men got their chew. I'm proud of you. Thanks, man. I don't do it every day. Not every time, but sometimes. Jaden said he's so ready for this.
Look, if there's any point in time in my life where being a glutton and eating as much food as possible comes into play, it's social media for us, right? Like best case scenario for me.
I will tell you right now that this guy right here can fucking put food away. Like, I
gotta go to the gym 5 days a week. I'd be 400 pounds if I didn't work out.
There are some days where I feel like I can keep up, and I put down quite a bit of food, and then I look over and this mother, like, I'm like stuffed to the brim, and he's going back for another plate, and I'm just like, oh my god, how? Where do you put it?
I like to eat. Yeah, I'm in on that. I'm in on TikTok and me doing the Rock's cheat day. Let's put that in the bag.
Yeah, have to get the recipes and whip them up. I'm gonna spend like $100 in food.
That's fine. It's right. It's a business expense.
We'll write it off. Ryan said, "I'll send nudes to put on the Rally Towel OnlyFans. I've been waiting for this moment." All right,
look, Ryan. It's been tossed around. That's the thing.
We've had some pretty lengthy conversations in our group chat about starting an OnlyFans.
Feet pics. Not nudes, feet pics.
Yeah, not nudes, but feet pics.
If they're nudes, they're tasteful.
Obviously.
This is a professional structure here. You can't just go around with sloppy nudes.
I want that shit to be in 4K with a fucking ambiance and a sweet backdrop.
Gross.
God damn it, Ryan.
I knew he meant mean. I knew he meant mean.
I didn't. Oh shit.
What a classic. What a classic movie.
All right.
Back to sports.
Now that we've got the crowd warmed up a little bit, I really want to get into what we were talking about earlier today.
Okay.
With who was the athlete in question?
Julio Rodriguez.
Todd, please tell the chat the stats that you told us in the group chat today.
So this was through Saturday. That was 7 games, something like that. Julio Rodriguez has struck out 11 times looking. All of his strikeouts have been looking. They have not been swinging. Of those 11 looking strikeouts, 8 of them were more than 5 inches outside of the zone. So when I say the zone, I mean if you're watching a game and you have your box, that means that 8 of the 11 were at least a ball's length outside of the zone.
Did you share that on Twitter, that video, to the Rally Tile page?
I believe I did. I'll have to go back and look. I'll see if I did.
Okay, well, there's a video. It has all the ABs on it. I popped it on while I was at work today to watch it. I don't know if I would say 5 inches on that many. There were definitely some that were outside. And wiener length, it's 10 inches. That's absolutely correct.
Closer to 12, but whatever. It's a formality.
Semantics. Anyways, yes. So I will give him the credit that he has an immaculate eye, and he's not swinging at balls that he doesn't deem are strikes. Chad, I really want to know what you guys think. Here's the question. And I just completely blanked. God, that workout. Shout out to Joe. Sorry, quick sidebar. This dude fucked my world up tonight. Quick sidebar, and we're gonna get back to it. I hired a personal trainer one day a week just to try to get back into the gym. And today was my fifth work. So I've been doing this for 5 weeks, and we did legs today. And my God, he absolutely crushed my soul. And then I spent the whole car ride home trying not to throw up. I got home, I made dinner, and then I sat down and just looked at it for about 20 minutes, still trying not to throw up. I finally got the ability to eat, so I ate. And I'm just still been trying to collect my thoughts since. So big shout out to Joe, Fitness 19 up here in good old Columbus. But anyways, back to Julio. Here's the question: he's obviously not swinging. How do I want to phrase this? He has a great eye. He's not swinging at balls, but umpires are calling him strikes. So should he adjust, or should he actually start being a little more aggressive at the plate and stop taking those backwards Ks? What do you think, Todd? Chat, I also want to know what you guys think.
So my personal opinion is I think you you take the strikeouts at this point in time if you're Julio Rodriguez, because there's going to come a circumstance or the rubber meets the road for umpires where things are going to have to change anyway. Because ideally, in a perfect world, an umpire is 98% accurate. That is the statistic that Major League Baseball grades umpires on, is at least 98, or the goal is 98% accuracy, should never dip below 96%. So for those games where it gets the same team from the same crew, right? So you have the same crew of umpires that rotate through the series. Their accuracy for that series, I looked this up after the fact, was 92%.
Oh my God.
92%.
That's awful.
If you watched the Reds when they played the Braves, that crew for that 4-game series was 93%. And I think that there are still some umpires out there that are very, very good at their job. There are guys out there. A lot of the shitty umpires that we've seen, like the Joe West and the Angel Hernandez, and those guys are starting to filter out. And Joe West had a great umpire career up until about 5 years ago when he was basically blind and he was still trying to do it. Should have called it quits then. He was just securing the bag and getting that like additional pension or whatever they give to umpires.
Right.
I think if I'm Julio Rodriguez, you keep taking look backwards Ks, and eventually baseball has to adjust. There's going to come a certain point in time where baseball needs to figure out how they're going to handle this umpire situation, or if they're going to or if they are going to invest in additional money to train umpires more. Because right now it's hard to become an MLB umpire, but once you get into being an MLB umpire, there's really only, similar to like if you were, say, a high school or a college umpire, it's basically just being recertifying year over year that you can do the job. There's not really a ton of additional training or development that comes to these guys at this point in time from the research that I've done on it. So I think that to make it better, you need to make the umpires better. And there needs to be, and they're graded during the year, but then there needs to be accountability to that grading, right? And there's just not. I think there's just it's so scarce right now to find good talent, working talent. I mean, look at just the general American workforce, right? Like, look how scarce it is still. I think we're seeing that happen across all professional platforms with umpires and referees. You're seeing more blown calls. We've seen it in the NBA so far. We saw it in the college basketball tournament. We certainly saw it during the playoffs and the NFL. I think these big professional organizations need to make a decision on if they're gonna pay these guys, especially baseball and basketball, these guys being full-time employees of the organization. The best way to, at least my understanding, and being a boss, the best way to grow talent is to continue to train and develop them and work on their weaknesses to become strengths, right? That's the basics of leadership 101. Find the weaknesses, figure out what their strengths are, capitalize on the strengths to benefit their weaknesses.
Right.
But it doesn't seem like that they're doing that for officiating at a professional level right now. It just seems like that they're allowing these guys, based on namesake, to continue and continue to umpire and referee in these big games and not do well. And I think that as an organization, you have to make a decision at some point in time. It comes down to three. Are you going to compensate them better? Right? Because, regardless of, you could say people work for people. People also work very strongly for more money. There's proof in that. People leave jobs all the time to go to a shittier environment because they're getting paid more. Are you going to, what's the word I'm looking for? Vet who you're bringing in. And then are you going to hold people accountable? I think that's my biggest issue that I have right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be, so here's my thing. I agree to the point that at some point or another, it's going to change. At least balls and strikes, that change is going to be coming sooner rather than later. As far as that being robotic or electronic, because it's really getting to the point where it's getting out of hand. But in the meantime, I think you got to adjust. I think you got to be a little more aggressive, because if you're sitting there and you're taking those strikes, you're only hurting your team. Now, will that develop bad habits for the hitter? May he not want to develop those bad habits? Maybe. But, if you're striking out that many times, you've got to make an adjustment somehow. Whether that's, I think somebody here said it, Ryan, how far he stands off the plate, crowd the plate.
He does. So does Kutch, though. Look how far away Kutch stands.
Right.
They don't call balls and strikes on him like that, though.
But Pete Rose said it best. If you're not hitting the ball, if you're not seeing the ball, if you're getting calls that aren't where they're supposed to be, move up in the box, move back in the box. Move to the left, move to the right. Adjust where you're – don't adjust your swing or your eye, but adjust where you're standing. Like, take that data. I would bet that probably 80% of his strikeouts were balls that were pitched away.
They were.
So get up on the plate a little bit more.
10 of the 11 were outside pitches.
Yeah, they're outside. So just step up and crowd the plate a little bit more. Make them start pitching you inside, because I would put money that dude can turn on a ball, and he can turn on it well.
Yeah.
So don't adjust your eye. Just adjust where you're standing. Don't change your swing. Just change where you're, because like if you're standing on the outside of the plate and you're seeing a ball that you're going to have to reach for, it's obviously probably going to be a ball or touch the outside corner. And that's where most of his strikeouts came from. So just make a simple adjustment until the time comes where we do have, electronic officiating, And that way, once that happens, you can stand wherever the hell you want, wherever you're comfortable, because you know what's a ball and what's not at that level. Major league batters have such good eyes. I think that is one of the most underrated attributes of professional baseball players is their ability to see a pitch come in that fast and know whether or not it's a ball or a strike like that. Right. I would bet half of them know whether it's a ball or a strike before the ball's even halfway to the plate.
For sure.
Unless you're seeing one of those, those 21-inch breaking balls that come in, that's just impossible. Yeah. That's really the only way.
No, I think that I don't disagree with you. Look, you're a professional athlete. You need to make adjustments, but I think that you're continuing to just put Band-Aids on a bigger problem. Though.
Right. I agree with that 100%. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 92% is unacceptable. Yeah. Unacceptable at that level. In college, 92%, sure. Right. I mean, 90% is pretty good. That's an A. Right. But this is the professional. You have to be almost perfect.
Yeah.
And I love your thought process on, getting somebody in there to hold these. Maybe they should have like incentive-based contracts, just like players do.
Absolutely. Well, you're incentivized in your job too. Everybody gets a bonus at work, right? For the most part. Or if you're a commissioned associate, your commission checks are based on adding, piling on the
adding value,
the value adds. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I don't know what the answer is. And I'm not going to sit here and act like that I know the ins and outs of how they do contracts. And that's also a union too. You have to remember that. The
right.
Umpires Association is a union at the major league level. And I believe the referees in the NBA are also a part of a union. So that becomes a lot more challenging when you're dealing with
right.
unions because, then you got to turn to scabs. If they strike, then you go to scabs and you're
going to be way worse.
You create a much larger gap.
Yeah, absolutely. Rob, what's up? Corey coming in with a couple of comments, changing the direction of the conversation a little bit. Let's hit Ryan's comment real quick, and then we'll get back up to you, Corey. Corey said, as a coach of a young 10U team, I hate blaming umps. They're hard to come by. Select for calling people last minute to come umpire because it's scarce. And that's like, especially in youth baseball, man.
So let me share a story that my dad shared with me because I'm sure, Carp, and for you guys, my dad umpired baseball for a really long time. And I'm talking like close to 3 decades. And my dad
he called a lot of my games.
Yeah, he has umpired from the now 8-year-old select teams all the way up to elite level 17 and 18-year-olds with over 20 guys on total on the field between the dugouts and the field playing Division I baseball. He has done all of it. And I asked my dad this question because my nephew is 16 and he goes to Lakota West, which is a larger public school in Cincinnati. And he played a JV baseball game with one umpire. That's insane. They could not find another umpire to cover a JV baseball game where they're paying these dudes like $63 a pop or something like that. And Carp's right. As it's younger, it's hard enough to find good umpires. It's even harder to find somebody just to show up and umpire a game. And you get paid more when they're younger and you're umpiring by yourself. If I remember right, there were times when my dad was umpiring 12-year-old games, 11-year-old games, making $70 a game. And this was 2006, 2005. I'm sure
it's making $100 a game now.
Well, it's at least $80. I was 75 or $80, somewhere along those lines. But my point being that it's almost impossible to find people to do it because, I mean, everybody's trying to find their side hustle, right? Everybody has their thing that they're trying to do. Clearly, like for us, it's like your gaming channel. We're doing this. We spend a lot of time doing this. And like, I even looked into umpiring, right? I talked to you about it.
Mm-hmm.
It was going to cost me like almost $1,000 to umpire high school baseball. I'm not doing that.
And they want more people to do this, but they're gonna that should be like maybe a $200 certification. Maybe.
Well, it's around $400 to $300, $400 to get into the state of Ohio, take all the tests, and all right. it's and all of that, but then you have to buy all the equipment, and the inflation has really hurt for whatever reason, baseball, football, that style of equipment, it's almost doubled in pricing. And I'm sure Carp's seen that too. You coach a team going out and getting catcher's equipment, you have to basically cut a deal with a sporting goods store. You got to figure out if Dick's has a wholesale price for you, so you can get, a couple sets of gear or whatever.
Right. Or get sponsored.
Or get sponsored, which is damn near impossible to now, because every town or every suburb basically now has a select baseball team. And there's so many more organizations now within that, like from 8 to 18. There are organizations that start travel ball now at 8 years old. These kids are playing 55 games at 8 years old. That's nuts. That is insane.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. Like, I look.
That's what burned me out, man. I played a select team, and we played like 60 games.
Dude, I remember being like 12 or 13 years old, and we played like close to 100.
Yeah.
We played a tournament the weekend of Valentine's Day, and our last tournament was the first weekend of August. Like, I remember going to football practice a week after baseball being over. That's a lot of baseball for a kid that hasn't even hit puberty yet. A lot. And you can get burned out fast, and your body does not. You're young. Your body, you're resilient, but it doesn't. It's crazy, dude. It's select baseball has become, specifically in the Cincinnati area. I can't speak for other parts of the country, but for Cincinnati, it is so diluted now because every dad wants to coach their kid because their kid gets screwed over, whatever you want to say, and then they make a team, and then that team makes a team, and then that team makes a team. Well, now you have 110 teams at the 13-year-old level, and you have to have 7 leagues, and you got to pay into all these tournaments. It's disgusting, dude. I hate it. Like, watching my nephew go through that shit where, he's been on like 2 or 3 different teams in the last 4 years because every team that he gets on, they lose half their team. Because they bring new kids in, they play over the old kids, the old parents get mad, they start a new team. And now he's in high school, and they're still doing that shit at 16 years old. Like, that did not happen at least when I played, and I'm sure Carp could say the same. By the time you get to high school, usually, and you're playing summer ball, those teams are pretty much set. You play for them unless you're really good and you get asked to play by like a Midland or something. Like, you play on that team through high school, and that's who you rock with, unless you get a better opportunity from a higher level team that's going to play in larger tournaments. Like, I don't know. It just seems it's so diluted now. And like, I think that's another reason, like, there's so many games now, so it's harder to get umpires to do all of these games that are happening because, like when we were younger, growing up in Fairfield, there was one team that played at Waterworks, the local park, and then it was 2. And my dad still works at the youth baseball organization. Last year, they had 6 select teams at like 12 years old playing there. It's crazy, bro. Like, it's great money for them, right? Because you charge them to use the field a little bit more because they're a select team. So they're paying to play more competitive baseball. So you charge them a little more to use the fields.
Right.
Oh, dude. And all these coaches now are just so butthole. Like, they don't know anything about baseball. They're not teaching their kids how to play baseball right. And then you're creating these, by the time these kids get to high school and they're freshmen and they try it for the team and they go to a larger public school, well, then they don't make the team, right? Because you grow up telling your kid he's the best, and you're just switching it from team to team to team to team to team because he's not getting any playing time and he's not learning how to earn that playing time. And now all of a sudden you're the coach as the dad, right? Well, I don't know dick about baseball, but I want my kid to play, so I'm going to coach this team. And all you have to do now is go to a couple classes and make sure you're CPR certified. You can coach a fucking baseball team. That's even worse because then you're not making anybody better. You're just making sure your son's happy by playing him at shortstop every game.
Right.
Oh, I hate it, dude. It's the reason why I refuse. Once I coached for a little bit, it's the reason why I don't coach anymore because I can't deal with the parents. I can't deal with parents telling me how to coach their kid when they stand behind the backstop on their fucking cell phone the whole time, not caring whether or not their son's playing or not until the 5th inning, and they look up and they see Jimmy's not playing shortstop and he should play shortstop. It's crazy, bro. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I could talk about that for 10 hours about how select baseball used to be such a privilege for kids and such a great opportunity because you got to play really good teams. And now it's
I remember being super hit because I got cut from a couple teams that I tried out for. And I remember like getting super pumped when I fucking finally made one. But I worked for it. I earned it. We didn't go out and, build a team. I went and kept trying out. Like,
so my dad told me when I was 12 and I had to switch teams, I tried out for 4 teams. I didn't make it till the 4th one.
Yeah.
And after every one I didn't make, he said, okay, we got to figure out how to make you better. We got to find the right team for you. Because he told me when I was trying, he said, I'm not going to put you on a bad team. Like you're going to play on a team that's going to make you better. So you got to figure out, we got to figure out how to make you make a team. And that doesn't mean you're going to play right away. And it made me work harder. And it made me work harder up until today. I feel like my work ethic comes from shit like that. Like it's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
It's so disgusting.
I tried out for the basketball team every year since 7th grade. I didn't make it to my sophomore year, but you know what I did my freshman year? I fucking went and played with my brother's AAU team, and that was seniors, and I was a freshman. And I came back as a sophomore, and they're like, "Holy shit, what happened to you?" I'm like, I was playing with people that are way better than this.
Right. So you got better.
I got my ass kicked.
Yeah.
I got my ass better. Yeah, it makes you like. You gotta put the effort in, man. And you hit the nail on the head. I can't wrap this up with a bow any better than the way that you said it. But yeah, I think Corey said something about entitlement running through the country. And dude, it's terrible, man. Nobody knows how to grind it out and work hard anymore. Everybody's like, and that's to kind of get off the sports thing for a minute. It's like, it's just like our country is so entitled right now. But businesses have made it. You get pissed off if your Amazon package doesn't come next day. You can get food delivered to your house. You literally don't have to leave your house for anything. If you work from home, you could never leave your house and still exist and get everything done. We have so much content online. You can look up recipes. You can read books online. You can find workouts online. Like you can get everything you need. Like it's just everybody just wants everything now. And nobody knows how to fucking put in the effort and grind it out and work hard. Man, it's so much sweeter when you earn it than when it's just given to you. And I think if there's one thing that's lost in this country, it's that people have that sentiment where the instant gratification. And it definitely translates to the sports world as well, especially with youth baseball. Honestly, it's a fucking joke right now.
It is. I'd love to. Carp said it. I'd love to get him on here just to talk about it one day because he's coaching his 10-year-old son. Maybe we could try to set that up in the next couple of weeks, Carp. Try to get you on here.
Yeah,
just let you.
Let us know. We'd be more than happy to have you on here on a Tuesday.
Because I think at least he says it like here's. You watch the Little League coaches, or you watch these Little League teams with a coach that is terrible. So why not try to do select to do it the correct way? Watching coaches throw 9 to 12-year-old kids throw 159 pitches in a weekend is rough. Absolutely. And here's the thing: he says that, but we did the same shit, right? Like I remember playing in tournaments when I was 12 and 13, and pitching the first game on Thursday night or Friday morning, and if you make it to the semifinals or whatever, I was pitching on Sunday afternoon, right? It didn't matter if I threw a complete game on Friday. I was pitching on Sunday. My arm hurt. Didn't matter because you're 12 or you're 13 and you don't want to disappoint your coach and your teammates. So you get out there and you do it. And
how's your arm now?
Like me. Yeah, I was going to say you end up like me when you're 19 and 20 years old. You can't even stock shelves for more than 4 hours at a time because your elbow is so inflamed with tendonitis and your shoulder is riddled with arthritis, and you have to do exercises 4 or 5 days a week just to be able to lift weights. Like that shit's real. It catches up to you. And I didn't take care of my body either. And that's on me. Like,
right.
I can't blame all of it on coaching or whatever. Like by the time I got to high school, I just didn't have anything left.
Yeah. But I mean,
all my shit was gone.
I mean, it's not all on you, right? I mean, I think a big part of youth coaching should be about taking care of your body. If they really want the best for their players, they need to explain like, hey, you got to rest, you got to ice your arm, you need to stretch, you need to get up tomorrow and just do some warm up tosses and keep the arm moving, and then go back and ice it again, and like just there's a lot that could change about it that could make it way better, but I think there needs to be a limit on the amount of baseball teams that can exist. It would make the sport so much better,
dude. But it's such a cash cow. There's so much. There is
so much. That's the reason why it won't happen. People are greedy.
There's so much money. Hell yeah. If you're running, I don't know if they call it WABC or whatever they call it anymore now. If you're running a select league in Cincinnati or in any metropolitan city where there's baseball and at a higher level, there is so much money. You pay in to play in the league, then you pay for tournaments, then you got to pay for baseball. You got all the shit. Like, it's crazy. It's so expensive. So then you turn around and charge parents $800 a pop, unless you do fundraisers. And then you're committing 5 to 7 weekends before the season starts doing fundraisers, which for kids, like, that was fun for me when I was young because it taught you had to earn your ability to go play in a tournament out of state, right? But now it's like, you want to play in the league? Go sell these candles. Go sell these candy bars, whatever it is now. Like, that's the kind of shit they have to do to get that stuff going.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Corey said the parents are why I don't coach football. Yeah, man, I would never coach a little league team. Never.
That sucks. Here's the thing, like, I hear that, and like that's why I respect what Carp does, because I think, he's coaching his son's team, but he's made it very clear to me when we've talked about it that he's trying to teach these kids how to be disciplined. And like try to make tough and forcing them to make hard decisions and putting them in tough situations. But you look at a guy like Corey too, who has a crazy amount of knowledge about football that could really shape and mold like how we were. We had great coaches when we played football when we were younger that taught us a lot of really tough life lessons. And somebody like Corey could do that for a kid, but you're not, because you don't want Billy's mom coming up to you after practice who's 60 pounds overweight saying that he should be a running back. Why is he playing offensive line? He should be a running back. He wants to be a running back. Nope, doesn't work that way. It's a tragedy, dude. I'm so scared for, like, I look at Declan and maybe he plays sports, maybe he doesn't. I don't care. He'll get to do whatever he wants to do. But if he does want to play sports and he wants to play them competitively, I'm going to have a really hard time just being there and hearing it in general, not to him. Right. Because like, I know what the difference is between being a parent who is present in their child's life and making them better versus parents who are there to socialize and bitch about how the coach doesn't know what the hell he's doing when they don't know anything that's going on. Like, right. I can't just sit there and I'm going to be the dad that sits in center field in a chair by himself because I can't be around anybody else.
Yep. Yeah.
I do that at my nephew's games. I only stand by my brother-in-law. Other people come up and talk to me, I walk to the other side of the field. Like, I just can't do it. I can't handle the ignorance that people have when they watch sports, especially youth sports. I hate it.
Yeah. Ryan said he was that kid his freshman year at Tennessee and he couldn't lift his arm. See his scholarship. The difference between us and now, icing your arm is pointless. Blood flow is what needed. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the first thing about recovery when it comes to pitching. If blood flow is what's needed, then gosh darn it, that needs to be done.
Back in the day, it was icing, and then that was supposed to heal your inflamed tendons, joints, muscles, whatever. But actually, it was quite the hindrance. That's why you don't see pitchers icing their arms anymore. And they basically just throw a jacket on it and make sure it stays warm, because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to keep your arm warm, and you're not supposed to change temperature on it because you're restricting blood flow. So yeah, there's a lot to it, but Ryan's right. Like,
makes sense.
They used to make fucking wraps that went from your neck all the way down to your wrist that you would put on your arm after you'd get done pitching. And who would have thought that the thing that everybody told you to do is actually impacting and prohibiting blood flow to be better and to continue to pitch for longer.
Yeah, but it makes sense. This comment kind of grosses me out, honestly. He said in these tournaments we play in, it says coach's discretion on pitch count.
That's horrendous.
That makes me sick to my stomach. But yeah, well, Corey, we need to get back to your football comments that I saw probably about 20 minutes ago.
Sorry,
we got on a long tangent.
You got Carp and I both on this bullshit with you.
Hit a pretty big soft spot with you guys.
You did. I hate it, dude.
Hey, that's what Town Hall Tuesday is all about, man. If you guys have anything you want us to talk about, let us know. Let me scroll back up here and find this comment here. Tez also said the constantly moving, where you just to touch on the Julio situation. So you don't want to be constantly moving where you stand in the batter's box. Where you stand is how you determine your balls and strikes. Whether you should swing or not, it's the reason why you don't see guys changing where they stand. I agree with that to a point, but a lot of the good hitters are able to shift around in the box. Pete Rose is one of the best, and he said if he was struggling, he would move around in the box. So, if Pete Rose is saying it, he has the most hits in baseball, I'd take that with a pretty heavy hand. But yeah, I agree. You know, I didn't change a lot where I stood in the batter's box. It helped me determine my strike zone, so I completely understand where you're coming from on that point. Corey said, Buckeyes leaving Ohio State via the transfer portal, 3-star or better. In 2019, there was 5. 2020, there was 4. 2021, there was 4. 2022, 14. Times are definitely changing in college football. So, Corey, do you have a list of the players that are leaving Ohio State?
I do.
I know they just signed. They just got a commitment from a 4-star defensive back, I believe. Is either today or yesterday. But I don't know who all is leaving. Are they tenured?
So no, a lot of them still have 3 to 4 years of eligibility. So
okay, so these are fairly okay.
Right. So here's the caveat to that, though, and this is where I think what Corey's trying to say and exposing Ryan Day kind of comes to fruition is, so I'm sure you remember, or maybe you don't, but excuse me, there was a linebacker about 3-4 weeks in named Kevon Pope that quit during the middle of a game and entered the transfer portal and talked a lot about coaching being the reason why he was transferring. And he was a little butthurt because there were some disagreements going on the sidelines, but Ohio State's defense at that point in time should have had nobody solidified because they gave up almost 30 points to Minnesota in the first.
Yeah, they were terrible.
They had a couple cupcakes and then they get beat by Oregon. So then you have a defensive back transfer, and then your backup quarterback to CJ Stroud enters the transfer portal, who is now going to Florida, by the way. So Corey should be happy for that. He's going to have a quarterback after Anthony Richardson leaves this year. So then the number one quarterback in the whole entire country, this guy Quinn Ewers, right? I'm sure you remember hearing about him. Yep. He graduates early. He goes to Ohio State. As soon as the season's over, he's gone. He's in Texas. And then Ohio State loses another guy to Kansas. They lose another quarterback right before Christmas, right before the season's even over. Then you lose another defensive back. Then you lose a defensive lineman who is a 3-star. And then you lose another quarterback, another 3-star quarterback. And now I think they've had 5 in the last week, or 4, something like that. Yeah, 4 in the last week. All of them on the defensive side of the ball, gone, 3-star or higher. So I think the question that Corey's trying to pose, is it Ryan Day's fault that they're transferring? Is he the reason why they're leaving Ohio State? And I think that's a fair question to ask. And I would say that
I haven't. I mean, I don't follow college football as closely as I probably should. But everything I've seen from Ryan Day seems like a pretty cool guy. He's there for his players. He's big on mental health. He seems like a really team centric kind of coach. But I mean, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on it.
So I think that, look, Corey, damn it, Corey, you just said exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say whether or not it's specific to Ryan Day, his job is to keep the best talent at Ohio State, right?
Agreed.
There's no general manager. There's none of that shit for him. You are the head coach of a college football team. You should be keeping everybody there.
You are the GM.
Yeah. And Jaden brought it up earlier. There's a guy that went to Roger Bacon that went to LSU. He's transferring to UC. If you're LSU, you never let him leave. He was a 5-star recruit. Like, you don't let 5 stars go back to their hometown, especially to the Big 12. You're playing in the SEC. Why would you ever leave the SEC to go to the Big 12? It's clearly a leadership problem, right? And I think that's kind of the point that Corey's getting to, and I can't disagree with him. I think that Ohio State did a thing, or has continued to do a thing over the last 5 or 6 years, where they bring in all of these high 3, 4, up to 5-star quarterbacks in the same year of the same class. And then there's 7 of them or 8 of them, and they're all competing for 3 spots. Well, if you're a 4-star recruit and you don't play your freshman year and you have 4 more years of eligibility, yeah, you leave. The transfer portal exists for these guys to go make their college career somewhere else.
Right.
So like Jack Miller, the guy that's going to Florida, he went to Florida knowing that he's going to have to play behind Anthony Richardson for 1 more year, because Anthony Richardson, to me, is a guy that this is kind of a year for him where he could become a top 4 for the class of 2023 for quarterbacks. I think he's right there on the cusp of like that 3 to 6 range. And it all kind of, we'll see how it pans out for him this year, especially with a new coach. But Jack Miller left to go to Florida because he knows that as soon as Anthony Richardson leaves, he's going to play right away. And he's going to be an NFL recruit, or he's going to be NFL eligible 2 years after that, right? And he played in a game for Ohio State, and he had 2 touchdowns. Like, he's no slouch. It's not like he sucks. But when you have C.J. Stroud, you have Quinn Ewers, you have Jack Miller, you have I can't remember the other dude's name, but like he was bringing in all these high-level quarterbacks, and they're not going to stay. And then insert the NIL, right? And look, Columbus it's a college football town. Everybody up here loves the Buckeyes, but there's only so much money in Columbus that you can provide to these kids, right? Bob Reichert can only hand out so many Suburbans and Tahoes. There's not enough cars for him to fit a fleet for all the Ohio State football players. There's 120 something of them, right? So you go to Ohio. So here's my perspective of what some of these guys are doing. And I can say this because I have no bias towards Ohio State. If anything, my bias goes the other direction. Here's what I think that happens. You go to Ohio State, so you can say that you committed to Ohio State as a 4-star or a 5-star, right? You do it for a year. You figure out if you can start or not. And if anything, you get better because the 6 or 7 guys that are around you are also 4 and 5 stars. And you learn from them, and you figure out where your weaknesses are, and you try to make them better. And then next year you hit the transfer portal, you go to the Big 12, you go to the SEC, you go to the ACC. Hell, you even go to the MAC or the American Conference, especially as a quarterback, and you go to throw for 4,500 yards. Right.
Well, just to play devil's advocate here, why wouldn't Ryan Day want to bring everybody to Ohio State just to see who can cut it and who won't, and then basically tell the other people, hey, you want to hit the transfer portal, go for it. You're not going to start here.
No, I think that's a great question, but it's also Ryan Day's responsibility. That here's my pitch for a college football coach. Similar to running a business, you know exactly what your needs are a year in advance, right? You know by week 5 for the following season what you're going to need. So you start recruiting for those specific needs. Ohio State did not need 7 quarterbacks in 2020. They didn't. Only 3 of them still exist from that class. One of them is going to be a top 2 pick in next year's draft, and the other 2 are just going to sit the bench all year until they play, I don't know, 2 minutes or 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter when they play Grambling, Texas Tech, Prairie Dog University, which they cupcake themselves into every year. And and you score 2 touchdowns against them, congratulations. Those guys are kids that had to really, really earn a scholarship and fought really hard to get to where they get to. So, and they're not as talented as you are. So congratulations, you beat them. But if you're Ryan Day, you're recruiting to a specific a specific purpose, right? There's a specific need that you work towards as a college football coach to get to what you get to. If you're going to here's the thing. He has Brian Hartline. Brian Hartline's the best recruiter for wide receivers in the country. Look at the talent that Ohio State's going to push through wide receivers to the NFL over the next 4 years. It's going to be nuts. We're going to see a lot of Buckeyes. We're already seeing a few Buckeyes in the NFL, and even more at the NFL level that are going to be catching a lot of passes over the next couple of years. But that's it. Their defense sucked last year. It was horrendous.
Their defense used to be like the foundation of their team.
Yeah, remember when Ohio State was a burden churn for all the best linebackers in the NFL? That is not the case anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you had A.J. Hawk and Bobby Carpenter on the same team. Those dudes great.
Remember how great James Laurinaitis was at Ohio State?
Yeah.
Gone. That shit's gone. They don't do that. They don't care about those guys anymore.
They used to produce some top-tier NFL talent at the linebacker position in the defensive line.
But here's why.
Chris Gamble.
Because linebackers don't equal money for college football anymore. Good linebackers, and look at the linebacker position in the NFL as a whole. Edge rushers are more athletic than linebackers now, right? So what does Ohio State do? Now they bring in the best edge rushers in the country. They brought in the number one edge rusher in the country. Fortunately, he was from a school 20 miles east of OSU's campus, so it was a pretty easy sell for him to go there. But that's all they bring in now. They buy these kids in on the Buckeye dream. And again, OSU is the only school north of
Shazier, absolutely.
Yeah. Ohio State's the only school north of Tennessee that's north of Lexington that's worthwhile for college football right now. Legitimate college football year over year. You're seeing some of the Big Ten teams make a splash and then they're gone, right? Like Michigan State, Michigan. But he's just it's all a money game, because really you think about, you bring in Quinn Ewers, you bring in Jack Miller, you bring in all these guys. That's more money to Ohio State too, from the boosters as well. So I think my personal opinion and what this all comes together is Ryan Day's just a greedy son of a bitch, and doesn't care about national championships, or doesn't care about. He cares about winning. You have to, if you're an Ohio State football coach, you have to win. You can't lose more than once, otherwise it's a bad year. But he definitely cares about making sure that money keeps flowing in for that program.
Right.
And making sure those boosters are filling his pockets real nice.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think defense is almost a lost art in college football these days. It's so you hit it on the head. You know, it's so offense heavy. People want to see the big plays and the touchdowns and quarterbacks throwing for 500-600 yards and six titties and just absolutely blowing up the stat sheet.
Nobody gives a fuck about a linebacker blowing up for 15 tackles anymore. Remember how AJ Hawk's career at Ohio State is arguably one of the best college football careers in the history of the sport. And if he played now, he would be like a fourth round pick. Like, it's just what it is. Like, the game has adjusted. The money comes from edge rushers and quarterbacks and wide receivers. That's where all your money and now defensive backs. Look at the money that Denzel Ward and Jalen Ramsey and these guys are getting now. That's insane. So now defense, you're gonna see that shift in college football start happening too. You're gonna start seeing a lot of top tier defensive backs start going to these big Power 5 schools. They go there for a year, they're gone, they go somewhere else. God damn it. That's also true.
To be fair, props to AJ Hawk.
Good for him.
But no, I mean, I just feel like the linebacker position is a lost art. It used to be one of the most coveted defensive positions on the field.
Yeah, inside linebackers. Remember how important they were to a defense?
Yeah, I'm trying to
Almost
think.
Irrelevant.
The guy that from Cincinnati that played for Carolina, Luke
Kuechly.
Luke Kuechly. That dude is arguably a top 10 linebacker of all time based on just his knowledge of the game.
Yeah,
that dude was unbelievably smart, talented, and athletic.
I love hearing stories of people.
Quite honestly, one of the coolest players you'll watch on the field. Just like I remember watching a clip, and I can't remember which offensive lineman it was, but he was like, Kuechly called out like 75% of our plays, and they were all right. Just from pre-snap. Yep. Just from the pre-snap look. He's like, it's a run to the right. It's a run to the right.
There's a reason why the dude got a bachelor's degree from Boston College in 3 years.
Yeah, I mean,
he was really smart, and he was also really, 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 really good at football.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the linebacker position is I love watching it. It's such a lowest paid position in the NFL is linebacker, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. That is correct.
Outside of punter and special teams and things like that.
That's right. But it used to be one of the more integral parts of defense, but now you have guys like Chase Young and the Bosa brothers and
Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald Watt. And the Watt brothers, Chandler Jones. Like these guys are 6'6", running like running backs. Like, of course it's changed to them. Look at Trayvon Walker, the guy that's going to come out of Georgia. Like that dude ran like a 4.6 40, and he's 300 and something pounds.
I mean, fuck, you got offensive linemen now running sub 540s.
Yes, a lot of them.
Yeah. Like they're running like 4.7 and 4.8s.
Look at the dude from Northern Iowa. He's 345 pounds. He ran a 4.8 something 40. That never existed before until like right now, until the last 2 or 3 years.
It's fucking insane.
Yeah,
I can't even run that.
No, but I think that the point being of all this and the string of the conversation going all over the place is that Ryan Day is bringing in what brings in the most revenue for Ohio State football, and not necessarily maintaining the best talent, right? And
yeah, for sure.
Outside of CJ Stroud, the quarterbacks that he's lost, like Jack Miller he picked Florida, but he could have started at pretty much 90%, 95% of the other D1 universities around the country. The dude's an absolute.
You think that has anything to do with what Corey sent us today?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
We'll probably dig into that a little bit more on Thursday. But
yeah, I think what's
I know Corey's gonna have a lot to say about it. So
it's the first one of many, right? And it just so happens it's Corey's favorite college team that creates this marketing branding situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. See, pick Florida for the reason we discussed Thursday. Hit the nail on the head there. Yeah, I mean, I think the NIL is one of the best things to happen to college football in such a long time.
College sports as a whole, it's the best. It's the best thing they've done for these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a long trip out to Springfield today, so we were listening to Rothman and Ice on the radio, and they were talking about the NIL a little bit and how it's the fucking wild west right now. And we're here for it. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm on board with it, man. Like I want these guys to get the bag. Like get the bag, because you don't know if you step on a college football field and it could be your last game ever. Who was the running back for South Carolina that completely had his leg destroyed?
Marshawn Lattimore.
Yeah, that was one of the nastiest injuries you'll ever see, and that dude had no NIL deal, nothing.
Yep.
He had to. Football wasn't an option for him after that.
Right. He got the pity foot. Remember, he got the pity pick in the draft, and he never really. I don't know if he ever entered an NFL. He
never touched the field.
Yeah, because at one point in time he was the best running back in the country.
Yeah.
Look, I think we've talked about NIL some on here before, but like think about how much different Eddie George's career would have been at Ohio State if there would have been NIL.
Yeah, Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman winner, Charles Woodson.
Think about that. The Miami of Florida team that Willis McGahee was on.
Bro.
Think about how much money those guys would have made. Or LT at TCU. Like he would have
Vince Young, Cam Newton, all these guys that were just absolutely insane. And Tim Tebow even. Like
Tim Tebow would have made $10 million. He would have
it would have all came from Joel Osteen. But
oh shit. Yeah, I love the NIL, man. I think that unfortunately, I think it's 20 years too late.
Yeah, absolutely.
Universities have made so much money off of players and never compensated them. They've ruined so many careers. They've taken so much away from those guys. Like, it's an absolute tragedy that it took up until 2019 or 2020 for these guys to get
COVID year.
for these guys to get paid for literally being on the most, because there's a reason why there's people like Zion Williamson exist and get fat when they become professional athletes, because being a college athlete is the most regimented and the hardest work that you put in, especially when you play at that level, because every part of your day you're held accountable and there's somebody there to make sure that you're holding up your end of the bargain every single day. So why not pay these guys for doing that? Why not compensate them for spending the 50 plus hours a week outside of being a full-time student promoting their program and trying to promote themselves for this program to give them some money back? I have no problem with it. It's better than these dudes coming and taking scholarships away from other student athletes that deserve them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
With the NIL deal in place, they need to give Reggie Bush his Heisman back.
Absolutely. It's the same shit like with all these guys that like Terrell Pryor and those guys when they got in trouble up here.
Yeah, with the
selling autographs or tattoos.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? Like everybody was doing that. They just got caught.
They just got caught. Yeah. But yeah. Ryan said Tennessee's new quarterback recruit has already earned $9 million and he has not even touched a field. He hasn't even taken a snap. Like, good for him, man. Like, I hope that, there's a lot of, issues with giving a kid that age that type of money. There's a lot of baggage that comes with that, especially if the parents are greedy and like I don't know how that works, but I know there's some parents out there that would see their kid's success and just take it all because that's mine. I got them to where they are, but
sure,
you just hope that it's managed well, and it's not all.
Well, they're technically all adults by the time they get to college, right? Once you turn 18. But here's the thing, and this is a perfect segue into this. Ohio is talking about NIL for high school students.
Whoa, I didn't know. Yeah. That.
Yes. So
interesting.
What does that? Yeah. So what does that mean for a high school athlete?
Oh man. Well, I mean that conversation definitely will exist then.
How do you? So say you're say you're a 5-star recruit out of any Catholic high school in Cincinnati, one of the big 4, right? You're a 5-star recruit. And I don't know.
Mr. Ohio every year will be getting paid. Corey said prostitution.
But the thing is like so now you're talking about, look, your brain's not developed to make good decisions until you're like 24 or 25 anyway. So you're already, the high school thing scares me because then parents are responsible for all this money. Then you're going to see shit go downhill and south really quick for kids and parents alike. You're going to see Alfa Romeo or fucking Tesla Cincinnati is going to run out of inventory because all the best kids in Cincinnati are going to be getting paid, running over and using Billy's money to get a brand new Tesla, and that kid's never going to see a dime of it.
Right.
So then you got to work into some sort of deal where the kid has the final say in every dollar that's spent or whatever it may be. I don't know. I don't know what that looks like, but
that needs some development before it gets rolled out. Like there has to be so many fail safes to make sure that doesn't happen. I agree with you, Ryan. I think that's actually a really bad idea. I don't know. I don't agree with that at all, because if they are that talented, just wait till you get to college. I see too much going wrong with that more than I see the benefit.
Well, here's my argument to that.
Come on, kids, we're gonna bail Aunt Becky out of jail.
There's already
have the money to do it.
There's already so much dirty money that flows. Let's talk AAU basketball, and I know you know a little bit about this.
Yeah,
there is so much dirty money that flows through AAU basketball.
It's insane.
That that parents are getting paid so much money for their kids to play for whatever big team, whether it's LeBron's team or whatever it is. They're already getting paid. Parents are already getting paid for their kids to play. Their kids are already getting incentivized to go play for these big AAU teams. So what's the difference between a high school athlete having legitimate businesses come and bring the money rather than the AAU coach's buddy who just ran into a cool couple $1 million, and now Jimmy gets to play AAU basketball with Team Ohio and with all the best recruits in the country, and he's rocking 10 new pairs of Jordans every summer.
Right.
How does he get those? How does he get that whole new wardrobe?
Corey completely disagrees. I feel like Corey would like to be in on this conversation. He says, nah, fuck that. Let the market run its course. Happens to child actors, model singers, etc. Yeah, just because it happens doesn't mean it's a good thing. That's my argument to that, because you can, it's endless on how many stories of child actors' lives are fucking ruined. And singers.
Look at Ryan Sheckler, damn it. What happened to Ryan Sheckler? What happened to that kid? Is he still skateboarding?
Who fucking knows, man? Okay, go save the world, Playboy. I mean, I'm not saving it. I'm just saying we shouldn't add more shit on top of shit. We shouldn't add more gas to the fucking fire.
So Corey's argument is that it's a free market, right? I'm actually on the side of Corey. There's a certain point we haven't reached the threshold of of where the money will end for people, and to me it only legitimizes people actually giving kids money correctly. And maybe it teaches them how to save money better. I don't know, but
I knew one of you motherfuckers was going to bring up Macaulay Culkin.
Look, he got addicted to heroin for a little bit.
It took him 40 years to figure his shit out.
Yeah, but now he was in American Horror Story and he's back on his feet. He's fine. Look at all the royalties he's getting from Home Alone. How many times do you watch Home Alone on TV, Bobby? You're lying in Macaulay Culkin's pockets.
I will say it's a great movie. One of my favorites growing up for sure. But no, I mean, I understand it's a free market. It's going to happen. I'm just saying there needs to be a little bit of control, not control, but just processes in place to make sure it doesn't fucking ruin lives. Ruin as many lives. It's going to ruin lives. There's no doubt about it.
Make it legitimate rather than what they're doing to these kids already. Right? That's the thing. Like you're thinking, your thought process is like, oh, it mucks everything up. Well, no, I actually think it actually clears it out a little bit because it's already so fucking merged from all the dirty money that exists.
It makes it technically legal, if that's the word you want to use. But there needs to be some regulation. It's gonna derail some homes. Kids are gonna get full of themselves, tell their parents to fuck off, and then go broke, and then go running back on it. But all that, I mean, it happens now. So just a little regulation so it doesn't fuck up as many lives.
Your moral compass is so much stronger than mine. That's what I'm taking away from this.
Todd's like, fuck it, give me the bag.
Hey, if you got it, secure the bag. Give it.
I am all about players getting paid at any level. But I just see a lot more, like, here's the thought process that my head went down, is that we were talking about youth baseball earlier, right? Just imagine how much more political and how much more intense that process is going to get if kids start making money in high school because they're the best. Just imagine how much worse that is going to get as a coach, if you're not playing Timmy, if you're not playing Johnny, you know what I mean? Like it's just gonna fly off the rails, and then we're gonna run into issues where people just don't want to fucking coach anymore. People don't want to ref games anymore. You know,
already there, bro.
I know, but it's literally gonna get worse, and then they're gonna have to start cutting sports because they don't have anybody to fucking ref the games or coach them. That's where my head went with it, and that's the bigger problem that I see, is that it's going to get way more political. It's going to get too convoluted, and it's going to cause more issues than it's going to solve.
That's fair. I see your perspective of it. I just think that it's already all happening, bro. Like it's such a greasy part of athletics that only like you only
It happens
find
at
out
every
about it.
school.
Yeah.
It happens at every school. It doesn't matter what school you go to. If your parent has the money to fund the school, you're gonna get a spot on the varsity team.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how good you are. I mean, obviously you have to be able to play a little bit, but a lot of comments rolling in. Corey says more regulation is always better. Obviously, that's fucking sarcasm. Kids do make, obviously video.
Yes, they do.
How much more would steroids happen when those kids make money? Honestly, it's not a really far-fetched question, to be honest.
Oh, bro, it's already happening. Again, I think we're posing all of these. We're posing all of these hypotheticals like they don't happen. There is so much illegal drug use that happens with high school students of the highest level that all this does, and Corey said it literally just it brings all of the muck and the turds and the bullshit that's under this huge rug, and it brings it all to the forefront. And all of these people who were the runners or the middleman for these AAU teams and high schools and shit, like it all comes to fruition and they go broke as fuck. And I love it. I would love for kids to get money in a legal way rather than their mom and their dad making a fuck ton of money off of them illegally and using their name to make money. Right. It's the same thing with colleges that were doing it to kids. They were abusing the fuck out of collegiate athletes to make money. Parents are abusing the fuck out of their kids to make money off of their kids. It's absolute bullshit. Yep. It's absolute bullshit. Like,
and that's kind of what I mean by the regulation portion of it. Like, I want that money to go to the kid, not the parent. But when you're underage and you're signing a contract like that, you can't technically sign it without a guardian. So like that's where I want the regulation to come in. I want that money to go to the athlete. I do not want it to go to the parents. If they choose that, like the kids should have the option of whether they want their parent to be on that contract with them or not. It shouldn't be a stipulation where they have to have a parent or guardian sign for X. That's really it. I mean, if the kid wants to go fucking party and blow all the money, Godspeed. But you do you. But there's a lot we could unravel with this. Let's see. Jaden said, I've seen high school track stars smoke more weed than Snoop and still are the fastest on the track.
Facts.
There were so many people that I played sports with in high school that got absolutely fucking torched before a game and then went out there and fucking dropped 30. Like, I don't know how, but good for you.
I think there's a few people that have been in this chat back and forth, including maybe somebody on the screen that could attest to that.
As being I'm not pointing out any fingers here.
I'm not trying to incriminate myself, but
I wasn't going to throw you under the bus.
Hey, whatever. I did it. It is what it is. Sorry, Mom, if you're watching.
We were young kids. we were young kids. Nobody remembers the third guy on the NCH team when they were good. So yeah, dude, probably not the best off now.
His name was Sean Ellis. I remember him. He was 6'10". How do you forget that dude? He had like a weird club hand or something too, if I'm not mistaken. But you're right, because Bill Walker and OJ Mayo were there.
Yeah, I remember watching them play Fairfield when they came to Fairfield. That was the most I've ever seen that arena packed when OJ and Bill were there. God, that was
when they played Withrow and Yancey Gates was on Withrow. That game. I will never forget watching that basketball game because that is the loudest arena and the smallest quarters basically that you could be in, and there were so many dunks. And it was such a high-scoring game. And it was unlike any basketball that we've watched that's been played on a court, an indoor court, I guess I should say. Because they were fucking alley-ooping to each other. They were just shooting from wherever they felt like. It felt like everything was going in. And OJ Mayo dropped like 40-plus that night. It was nuts. I loved it.
Yeah.
It's still to this day, it's one of the best basketball games I've ever watched. OJ
Oh,
Mayo
yeah.
is one of the. I still think Bill Walker was the better athlete between him and OJ Mayo, but OJ Mayo at that point in time, that was the coolest thing that had happened to high school sports in Cincinnati in a very, very long time. Also, how the fuck do you think him and Bill Walker ended up at North College Hill, bro? Some illegal bullshit going on there. How do you go from West Virginia, wherever OJ Mayo was? I think he was in Huntington, West Virginia, or he went back, whatever. How do you think he ended up at North College Hill? How's that program work out that way?
Yeah.
Right? You win a state championship. You're telling me that the coach from North College Hill didn't have something to do with getting those kids there? How does a guy like that Ellis dude from Indiana end up on Hamilton Avenue? Like,
right.
Just get the kids paid, whatever.
Right. Absolutely. No, I had a driver that used to work for me when I was in Enterprise. His name was Wayne. He actually had the championship ring from North College Hill. He was on the coaching staff.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Corey said excellent job opportunities for parents in North College Hill. There's never been so many teachers' assistants than there were in those 3 years that they were at North College Hill.
Right.
Never been so many. Never been so many. Insane. I believe North College Hill at that point in time had more janitors than Fairfield. That's a fact.
Maybe. All right, well, chat. We're getting into the depths of this podcast. So if you got any other last minute questions, please throw them our way. Cool little side note from my day today. Had to visit an account, and one of the guys there, he buys and sells sports cards, and he came across a Honus Wagner card, and he's currently getting it graded. Like the
Honus Wagner card?
A legitimate Honus. Well, he showed us pictures of it. He put it up against the black light and all of the, looks that it would be a real card.
Like the OG one? Like the first baseball card ever?
The OG one that came on a cigarette box. And
holy shit.
Yeah, he had some guy on eBay offer him $150,000 for it. He showed us the messages, and he was like, "Nah, fuck that." He went and got it graded. He said, "If it's legitimate, it could sell for like $4 million."
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. If that thing gets graded over like a 5, that thing's worth at least $1 million, if not more.
Yeah, it was in decent shape. Obviously, it's almost 100 years old, but
it's over 100 years old.
Yeah,
right. 1912 or something like. Yeah, I can't remember the year. But bro, if that's real, and that's not some sort of knockoff, and look, if the guy's a card collector, I'm hoping he knows his shit. But I'm telling you right now, if that is a real card, that dude will never have to work ever again.
No, he already said he's going to take a shit on the floor, and get fired so he can collect the unemployment, and then go down to Brazil and put one of those flying squirrel things on and go do that. He's an interesting fellow, but man, he showed us the pictures. The card looked legit. We'll see. He said he's gonna find out Thursday or Friday this week whether or not it's real. So I'm definitely going to be calling him to follow up and see how the work's doing out there.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted.
I have to know, because if that's true, if that's a real Honus Wagner card, I believe that's one of like 8 that are still like in existence around on the whole entire fucking planet Earth. That would be. Whew. I got chills thinking about that.
I know. I got to see the picture of it. It looked fucking sweet.
Here's the thing. If it's real and it comes back and it's graded, it's legitimate, I want to go down there and see it. I got to see it in person.
I didn't get to see the card in person, but I don't know. I don't know if he'll ever actually personally see the card again, because it's getting graded. Well, yeah, I guess
if he gets graded, it has to come back to him. Unless somehow.
But he also told me the catch. He said if it does get graded and he does find out it's legitimate, he has to pay a fee to get it back.
Sure.
He said PSA does the West Coast and SGA does the East Coast. Depends on which side of the Mississippi you're on. So he sent it down to SGA. It's in Florida. And he said if it comes back and it's graded properly, he's going to have to drop $40,000 just to get the card back from him.
Yep.
Which is
insane.
Because
it becomes a historical artifact.
Right.
Like that's supposed to be.
You want to know how much? You want to know how much him and a friend bought it for? $375.
How the fuck is that possible? Who sold it? That card specifically?
Mm-hmm.
If that's real and he did that, then you just take out a $40,000 loan because you make 50 times that back.
Right.
Oh my God. That's crazy, bro. Right? That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought, Corey said we got to get a glimpse of these Warlocks, dude. Yeah.
Rally Tau Sports goes and sees a Honus Wagner card. That's what I would. I
will do a fucking live stream from this office if I can actually get him to bring it in and let me see it.
I'll leave work to go see it. You tell me when and where. I'll be there.
Right. Either that, or I could coerce him to do a live stream with us, just so we can show the world this fucking $5 million baseball card that hopefully exists. I want it to be true, not just for him, but just for the history of baseball. Just to be able to say that I've seen a Honus Wagner card in person, like that was legitimate.
Facts.
Like that would. I mean, you want to talk about being fucking rock hard? Yes, sir.
You ain't lying, bro. You ain't lying.
Jake Paul it and put it around your neck at that point.
Oh shit! Appreciate you, Dale. Thanks for stopping in, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. Is that legit, Ryan? You got a PSA 10 Burrow card?
If it's a rookie card, it's probably worth that much.
Damn.
Or I guess it could be a second-year card too.
I need to buy some fucking sports.
Those cards. A PSA 10 is damn near impossible because most cards that you get in like a hobby box usually they're between like a 7.5 to an 8.5. A PSA 10 is like it's not off-centered. There's no chips. There's nothing absolutely. The finish is perfect. Like that's damn near impossible to find. I've spent a lot of time going over like gradings of cards and how it works and like figuring out because Nick's got a dope basketball card collection and he's got cards that are in there that like he could go get them graded. And
Nick's collection is worth a very, very good amount of money. I'm not going to disclose that live, but it is a very extensive collection.
And it's awesome. And there's cards in there that he could get graded that could tank the value. But them being ungraded actually makes them worth more because let's go the Jordan card that he has from when he was at North Carolina, right? It's a Jordan card. There was I think 23 of them. Yeah, 23 of them made. It's a piece of flooring and it's a piece of jersey from North Carolina in his time in North Carolina, right? We pulled it out of a box. If you got it graded and it came back as like a 7, it would be worth a fifth of what it's worth with no grade on it. Because if you buy a card that's pre-graded, you want the 9 to a 10. Because what you buy it for off of eBay, then you can go auction it off somewhere at like a private event, and then you triple your money that way, right? Like that's how the PSA 10s work. Like you either go into a drawing and you somehow get you find a PSA 10 that way, or you buy a card from a shop and you're like, holy shit, this thing's perfect. I got to see if it's a 10 or not. And then you go and figure it out. What Ryan did is like, I think the PSA 10s are less than 5% of the cards that they grade. PSA grades a fuck ton of cards. It takes a long time to get a card back. I'm sure it probably took 5-6 months to get that card back. If it took less time than that, then I'm shocked because I know a guy that collects cards that he'll send off like 15 to 20 at a time because it's cheaper if you do it in a larger bundle. And it takes 8 to 9 months for him to get all of them back.
Right. And I would assume the more rare your card, the quicker it gets graded.
Yeah.
Like a Honus Wagner card, you get that, you're grading it immediately.
Well, that's a specific. Well, there's specialists within the grading world too that grade stuff like that. Like there's a guy that works for, I think he works for PSA, maybe he works for one of the two big graders. There's somebody that all they do is grade. Right now, like Mike Trout rookie cards. That's his job because he knows every intricacy of every single rookie card that Mike Trout had from his that first initial set in 2010.
Right.
Like there's guys that PSA and SGA pay to be able to do those things. So if a Honus Wagner card came through, it would have to be a historian that grades it. And I don't even know what you base those parameters off of for a grading of that card. Because usually you have a baseline for how you grade a card. There's no baseline for that card because I think the highest grade for one that's still in existence is like a 6.5, and that card's worth like over $5 million.
Crazy.
That's nuts. I just shit my pants. That's why I'm glad it's only. I'm glad
I would share that with the world.
Yeah, I'm glad it's only chest up because I've shat all over myself.
Yeah, he said even if it's a Honus Wagner like fake, he could still get like $5,000 for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because those were made back in the like 50s. So
yeah.
I mean, either way, he's profiting. You know, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. I mean, it looked like it was in good shape for the most part. There was a little bit of the paint missing on the front. Edges look great. That was the biggest thing. Like that's the biggest thing I look for in a card that old are the edges. The edges are usually fucked. The edges look great. It was just the patina on the front that was a little muffed up, but it wasn't anything major. The card hadn't been folded or anything like that. So I mean, for a card that old, I could see it easily pulling a 5 or a 6.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Right. But all right, chat. We are gonna hang it up there. Thank you all for coming out tonight and being so active. We had 127 comments tonight. You guys are incredible. We will be back tomorrow night. Mr. Gottschall, Mr. James. Will Aaron be joining us tomorrow? To be decided.
Yeah, who knows?
To be decided. But in the paint tomorrow with Corey and Todd. And then I'll be back with Corey on Thursday for a little line to gain. Appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday evening. We will catch you tomorrow.